This video will probably not get a lot of views, but I want to talk about something very interesting, which is the question of when can you take a kitten away from its mother? And does the mother cat love the kitten? Is the mother cat going to miss the kitten? And it's a very difficult conversation because a lot of people, they do not read anything about animal psychology. Instead, what they do is that they anthropomorphize the animal. So they assume that what goes for humans must go for animals. And sometimes they even make some vague connections. And because a couple of things are similar, they assume that everything is similar, which is not the case, right? So let's talk about the similarities first. Do cats love their kittens? And the answer is absolutely yes. When a cat gives birth, there are certain hormones that are being released in the cat's brain, which gets her to be incredibly affectionate towards the kittens. A mother cat is going to be incredibly protective of her young. She is going to pay a lot of attention to them, even if the kitty sneezes. She's going to immediately see what's going on and why is that happening. So they are very, very affectionate with their kittens in the beginning. In fact, they are so affectionate that I know cats who lost a lot of weight because they refuse to leave their kittens and they don't eat properly, they don't drink properly. So that's actually quite an issue. If you see that your cat refuses to eat when it's having kittens, then what you want to do is to bring the food to the cat. Do not bring the cat to the food because it's just going to stress her out. So, in conclusion, yes, mother cats definitely have a strong affection for the kittens. Father cats, not so much. And this is where the anthropomorphization comes in. We associate human characteristics to cats. Just because we humans raise our kids with a mother and a father, we assume that this must be the same for cats. The answer is absolutely not. Male cats, however, do seem to recognize their own young. And while they're not going to be aggressive towards them, they might even be affectionate. They do not help in the raising of kittens. In fact, mother cats might often attack the male if it comes close to its young. So take that into consideration and assume that it's normal. If a female cat is hissing at the male, if it doesn't like its presence around the young kittens, it is absolutely and perfectly normal. Do not think that there is something wrong. Now, the question is, what happens when you take a kitten away from its mother? And it depends when you're taking it away. So if you're taking it away in the very beginning, in the early stages, when the cat is under those hormonic influences, then yes, the mother cat is going to be very distraught. She's going to be very depressed. She might start looking for the kitten. She's going to be very agitated. So I can't think of many circumstances where it's even appropriate to handle kittens at a very young age, because what you do is you stress the mother out, and if you stress the mother out too much, she might even stop producing milk. Or she might start trying to move the kittens, and despite the fact that it looks so natural and it's so cute when a mother cat moves the kittens, they can get injured, they can get hurt, so you should avoid doing this as much as possible. Limit your handling with the young kittens unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, with that said, there comes an age, usually around the time that the kittens get weaned, so we're talking about 4 or 5 weeks old, where you will notice that the cat is going to stop giving as much milk to the kittens. It's going to start trying to be a little bit more away from them, like not in another room, but she's going to climb up somewhere higher where the kittens can't reach her, and she's going to start supervising them from a distance. And this is the point where the hormones that we talked about earlier are starting to wane off, and the cat is starting to not be as affectionate to the kittens, because she wants them to become independent. And around 6 weeks, I would say, when the kittens are able to eat by themselves and when they're able to do everything by themselves, the mother cat might not be depressed or even notice if one is missing. In fact, if one of them gets removed for a couple of days and then is returned, the mother cat might not even recognize it as its own kitten. It might start hissing at it. It might start pawing at it. So this is the point where you can actually remove a kitten from the mother without causing distress for the mother. With that said, however, there are a lot of very bad breeders who do this because they want to make money. The cat enters heat again, so they want to get rid of the kittens as soon as possible because, they cost food, they cost maintenance. So the veterinarians go, all right, well, it can eat by itself, it can go to the litter, the mother won't miss it, so I can just sell it. That is the worst thing you can do. Because while, again, it is true that the mother cat won't miss them, in fact, she's probably going into its next heat cycle around the time the kittens are 5 or 6 weeks old, so she really doesn't care at this point. You do need to have the kittens socialize, especially among themselves. They learn how to bite properly, how to scratch properly, and what I mean by this, if a cat doesn't know how strong its bite can be, when it reaches its new family, it's going to be very aggressive. Because what happens when kittens play with each other, they might bite another kitten too hard, and the kitten immediately reacts and bites back. So now the kitten knows, it's like, okay, well, I shouldn't bite this bad, I shouldn't scratch this hard. So these are like important life lessons that kittens learn and socialize when they're usually around 5 to 6 weeks old. And not only that, they learn a lot of things from their mother. Like, they learn how to behave around humans. They learn how to communicate with humans, which is also something very important. Most people will tell you that their cats have different tonalizations for when they want food, for when they're feeling sick. And scientists have actually accounted for this. Like, cats do communicate differently with humans than they do with other cats. But more importantly, every cat has its own language, quote unquote, with its owner. So this is like, again, the time period where kittens learn all of these things. So it's important to allow them to socialize with each other as well as with their mother cat for at least 10 weeks. And by 10 weeks, when you take a kitten away from the cat, take into account that you're not doing the same thing as taking a 10-year-old from a human mother. Because the relationship between humans and children is completely different than that between cats. Right? So one way that cats have adapted to survive is by having many youngs. Because if you look outside in a country where there aren't any government institutions that are spaying or that are removing cats from the street, like if you look at Turkey or Romania or many other countries where there's cats on the street, you'll notice that a lot of them die. Either that they're being bitten by dogs or there's cars that run into them. So one of the ways for cats to adapt and manage to overpass this is to have as many kittens as possible. So the average number of a cat litter is around 4. And within 10 weeks, the kittens are already independent. They can take care of themselves. They know how to hunt. They know how to handle themselves. And at this point, the mother cat even starts to want to be alone from its kittens. Like, it's not going to want to spend as much time. It's going to start getting angry whenever the kitten wants to play with her. And this is perfectly normal. Like, again, you need to understand that this is natural. This is what nature has in store for the cats. We judge them from an anthropomorphic point of view because, again, we're looking at, well, a human being would never behave like that to its child. So we assume that a cat would probably have the same things. It's not true, right? Like, a cat is very affectionate toward its young up until 10 weeks old. After that, it might maintain a level of tolerance, but you're going to notice that the cat gets more and more annoyed as the kittens hang around. And then there's also the difference between gender. They're going to be more tolerant to another female cat than to a male cat. And again, this is all part of the grand plan, if you will. Because by shooing the male cats away, they avoid inbreeding. I mean, if they are given the opportunity, they would definitely breed with their mothers or their daughters. And then you have inbreeding, which any type of cat breeder can tell you leads to very horrible and nasty effects. I mean, all sorts of congenital illnesses and all sorts of things that should be avoided at any cost. But unlike having a breeder, which decides who gets to mate with whom, in nature you don't have that. So this is why the cats, they shoo the males away from the pack. And yes, they do form packs almost like lions. They form like little prides if you observe them in the street. Again, if you happen to live in Turkey, I think Italy, Romania, there's a couple of other countries which have a very healthy cat population that's just feral. And you can observe this. They have their own hunting territory, and they have their own places where they get together and they form little packs. It's quite adorable. Anyway, right. Let me know what you guys think. I decided to make something different because I had all the interesting news for This Week is Stupid. And this is something that I like to do. I don't expect that it's going to get many views, but still, I had fun doing this video. So let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.